This week, Money Shot, Wonder Woman turns 750, and you decide the fate of Marvel Comics. All that and more on Previews World Weekly, and it's starting right now.
What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday, it's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I myself am strange and unusual. And we're here every week to remind you guys to stop at a local comic shop and get involved in what's happening in the world of comics. And of course, if you're enjoying the show, be sure to give us a like and follow to keep the nerd news coming.
I had a moment when you came in today and I was like, are you Lydia or are you from Heathers? But you're Winona Ryder, regardless.
Either way.
But I appreciate it. It's a good one. I like that's a good poll, good reference. I'm into it. Actually, it just so happens that we were at Baltimore Comic Con this weekend, and you cosplayed Lydia again, but you cosplayed animated Lydia on top of that, right?
Sunday, yep. Mm-hmm.
But you also got to get a little, rub some elbows with some celebrities. Actually, really one of your favorites.
Yeah. So I was cosplaying as Raven on Saturday, and I was hanging out at the previews booth, and lo and behold, who walks by but Tara Strong and Greg Sipes.
Nice.
So I got to have a little interaction with them, and we took a photo together, and then Tara went ahead and posted it on her Instagram, which was kind of cool. So, yeah.
And the cool thing, too, is actually one of the reasons they were there was, they were at our booth. We did an interview with them.
Yep.
We talked to them about voice acting. Of course, Tara's, behind Teen Titans. Well, Tara's behind, every animated thing in existence at this point.
You've probably heard one of her voices.
Right. But between Tara and Greg, they are actually the voices on Teen Titans, the animated series.
Yes, they are Raven and Beast Boy.
And Raven and Beast Boy, specifically. So, that was a lot of fun. We did some cool stuff. We built mini-mates with them.
Cool.
And, talked to them about their careers. Nice. And actually, they weren't the only ones. We did a couple of other interviews. We did Walt and Louise Simonson, interview with them, and on top of that, we also did one with Garth Ennis, and tons of other cool stuff. So definitely check it out. It's coming up in the near future. It'll be on our YouTube and everything else. Also, just want to give a quick shout out to the Bloodshot trailer, which happened to drop while we were at Baltimore Comic Con. I didn't know quite what to expect from it because they've been kind of pushing it for the last couple of weeks, but it actually looks kind of cool, I think.
I actually, disclaimer, have not seen it yet.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So I have no opinion.
No, that's okay. It's okay not to have an opinion. But it surprised me. It was actually surprisingly fun, and they do this thing where trailers are kind of all cut the same way.
Sure.
So it was actually kind of refreshing to see a trailer cut differently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was pretty engaging what they did. And I won't say I'm a big Vin Diesel fan, but I am a fan of the Fast and the Furious in general.
I like Vin Diesel.
I don't dislike him,
sure.
but
not at the top of your list of action actors.
Exactly, right. But at the same time, he's probably the best person to play this character.
I agree.
So, yeah, really cool, kind of gory. And also, it had a nice little punchline at the end, which I thought was kind of neat. So, definitely check that out.
Very good.
And, we have a giveaway later in the show that I want to point out. We're going to do a Batwoman pop, so I'm jumping ahead real quick, but it's going to probably be a long show, so prepare thyself.
Yes.
We have a Batwoman pop giveaway that we're going to do later in the show, so stay tuned to that. But now it's time for What's at Comic Shops. We're going to jump right on in. Anna Mee is here, and she's going to show you what's at Comic Shops this week, and then when we come back, we'll give you some of our picks. Check it out.
What's up, Previews World? Mia here, and I'm gonna give you a look at some of the new titles in stores this week. Here's what's at comic shops for the week of October 23rd, 2019. Is that it? No way! Your comic shop has something for every type of customer. So stop at a comic shop today, and we'll see you back here next week.
Thanks, Mia, and of course that's just a taste of what's available. If you want to see a full list of what you can get at your local comic shop, head on over to previewsworld.com/new releases. What you looking at?
I'm going to try to say this as many times as possible on this show.
Oh. Oh, are you?
Money Shot, number one. It's from Tim Seeley, who does Hack Slash.
Cool.
And so, yeah, I just kind of caught wind of this, I want to say about 2 months ago, when it was in the catalog. And, it's an attention-grabbing title, right?
You don't say.
But you don't say. And also kind of an attention-grabbing cover, right?
Yes.
But
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But it's actually pretty amusing because it's about porn stars who become space travelers. Like, it basically takes place in a world where no one's going to space, and it's kind of like, it's really unfortunate. No one's like doing the whole discovery of the unknown thing, right? And so this main character gets the idea that she's going to go into space, and she's going to get it on with people.
Space porn.
And she's going to bring a bunch of other porn stars with her. And I don't know, I'm just very curious where this is going to go.
That sounds very fun.
Yeah, it sounds fun. It sounds amusing. The art looks kind of art looks fun too.
The art looks very clean.
Yeah,
I like
very
it.
clean. Right, which is kind of funny. But
irony.
But yeah, I just it sounds like something. Truthfully, it sounds like something I shouldn't have seen on Cinemax, but I probably saw on Cinemax when I was a kid. So I'm kind of for it. So
fair enough.
Yeah, if you're down with inappropriate things and things that you should not see, probably check out Money Shot from Tim Seeley. It actually looks like a lot of fun.
It does.
What are you looking forward to this week?
So we're going to actually talk a little bit about this guy later, right? So I'm looking at Count Crowley, Reluctant Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
This is the first issue of this. And it's from Dark Horse and written by David Desmalchian.
Yeah.
Right? Which is really cool. And it's about an aspiring reporter, and her name is Jerry Bartman, and she's furious when she's demoted to hosting a nightly creature feature, one of those fun horror shows, right?
Yeah.
Where you're introducing B movies all the time at the local small town TV station. And she's like, well, this is going to be stupid. But it turns out it's kind of supernatural.
Of course.
So she ends up having guests that are, actual supernatural creatures. And the first one she interacts with is a living, breathing werewolf.
All right. Okay, see, there you go. I love that. No, I remember we had the it was a Betty Page book a couple weeks ago, and it was like the community college with werewolves and whatnot.
Yeah. I love all these little goofy things like
right.
this, yeah.
No, it's like it's the right season for it.
Exactly.
I actually agreed with you when you said his name, but I actually get to correct you for once because you're so good at pronouncing last names, and I'm awful at it.
Am I?
But Natasha, we're going to show an interview later in the show. Natasha had an interview with David Desmalchian.
Desmalchian.
Yes.
Now we know. David Desmalchian.
There you go. And she had him on camera say what it was. That's the only reason I know what it is. But we're going to show you a little clip from that interview, and then the full interview will be up on our website and on our YouTube page later in the show. Another book that I'm actually looking forward to, and actually I have already read all 6 issues of this.
Good.
But I think everyone should read this, especially if you're a Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man's life story. This made me a believer in Chip Zdarsky. Chip Zdarsky did a spectacular Spider-Man run that I kind of glossed over.
Cool.
But I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah.
He's doing Daredevil right now.
Nice.
And he decided to do kind of like a Spider-Man in real time type of story.
Nice.
And,
I remember you talking about this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of cool because me personally, I've always kind of felt that Spider-Man's one of comics' best character dramas when they do it right.
Right.
And it's always about the personalities of Peter Parker and his large cast of characters. So to kind of see them age with time and then experience fictional events, but also historical events in real time.
Yeah.
The first issue is about whether or not Peter should join the draft for Vietnam because he's got his spider powers, and that factors into power and responsibility.
Yeah.
And then he has a whole back and forth with Captain America that didn't happen in the actual continuity.
Right.
But he's able to do that here. So yeah,
That's neat.
it's an interesting concept, and for long-term fans of Spider-Man like myself, to have those real-world events and politics kind of factor into the characters, his journey, really interesting, and also just to see Peter Parker grow old.
Right, actually grow up.
Right, yeah, which has always been a sticking point for me with the movies.
Yeah.
Is I want to see
always
him
basically the same age.
Exactly. You want to see him advance. So yeah, it was actually really cool to see that. And I'm actually, if you haven't read this book, you should probably check it out because it's really interesting.
Absolutely.
What else should people look forward to, or what is your pick this week?
Yeah, so my other pick this week is a book, again, that I've talked about on the show, but we're on to the trade. It's Hex Wives. So this is volume 1. And it's from DC, and it's about a bunch of super powerful witches who are subdued by an all-male conspiracy known as the Architects, and they're basically put into these Stepford wife wife-like household scenarios, and they've had their memories wiped and all this stuff, and they're slowly regaining their powers and memories and figuring out that they've been put in this situation.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, another good Halloween one.
yeah. I mean, again, 'tis the season. Like, why not? You guys are getting tons of great Halloween suggestions from Thea this month, so you should definitely check these out. In terms of big ticket items this week, Batman Curse of the White Knight #4 is out this week. It's Sean Gordon Murphy. Definitely something that people should pick up. Like, it's a fun book. Like, it's the sequel to the, pretty much was like, ended up being like kind of a surprise hit for a lot of people last year. Sean Gordon Murphy, of course, a great artist.
Yes.
But then it turns out he's actually a good writer too. And this one features Batgirl versus.
Which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I love this costume.
That get up, right?
It's
like that
really
whole
cool.
setup, right?
Yeah.
But it features Batgirl versus Azrael, which is kind of interesting because Azrael's kind of ruthless, and the description makes it sound like Batgirl kind of takes it to Azrael, and Batman kind of has to step in and be like, that was a bit much.
Maybe chill out of it,
Maybe
girl.
chill out of it. So, of course, this is an alternate reality and all this other stuff. So, like, you're kind of getting like these kind of intense versions of these already intense characters, right?
Yeah.
So definitely check out Curse of the White Knight. It's out this
like
week.
that.
What other big ticket items can people look out for?
We have some X-Men's.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
Marauders #1 is out. And of course, this is from the new dawn of mutant kind facing hardships, and it's led by Captain Kate Pryde and funded by Emma Frost and the Hellfire Trading Company. Marauders storm, Pyro, Bishop, and Iceman sail the seas of the world to protect those who are hated and feared.
Right. Hey, I think
Little pirate adventure.
No, exactly, right,
Which
yeah.
is really, really fun.
Right, it's interesting too. And actually, it's kind of not really the first time if I remember correctly, not the first time they've done something like that with
Oh, yeah?
Kitty. Like they had a Nightcrawler Kitty series that like kind of had like a similar feel to it.
Those are my two favorites.
Right. Well, see, there you go. And like, yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I'm curious what they're going to go with this.
Yeah.
And someone pointed out to me, which I didn't realize, but this, of course, is from the House of X, Powers of 10 line of comics.
Sure.
Kitty was surprisingly absent during the course of that story, so maybe we'll find out why in this book. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. And actually, speaking of which, here's a trailer for X-Men #1, which is actually the book that kicked off this Dawn of X, as they call it. Check this out. It's from Jonathan Hickman and Lionel Francis Yu, and here's a little insight into what exactly this series is about.
In X-Men, Jonathan Hickman is taking all of the X-Men as his own personal toys to play with. And they're going to be fun, quick stories, big superhero action and adventure, and you never know who's going to show up.
Well, when we leave everything at the end of House of X, we kind of have a mutant nation state. The mutants are winning, the X-Men are winning, which is a wonderful thing after the last couple of years.
Jonathan's one of the most skilled writers in the comic book industry, for sure. He comes up with enormous ideas, and he is incredibly good at executing them perfectly on the page.
I think the cool thing about the way that we're doing it now is that it's structured so that I can kind of tell any X-Men story I want to.
When he's teamed up with artists that he works well with, which he definitely does with Lionel, it's going to be a great looking book.
Lionel is a phenomenal talent. He has an incredible eye, his staging is wonderful, his character designs are cool. I love working with him, he's fantastic.
All you need to know is these are the good guys, and they're going to take on any threats they need to and do what they got to do.
One of our priorities for this year was to reinvigorate the X-Men, which we've done. And now we want to take that energy and ball it up and put it into a comic book, and that comic book is going to be X-Men #1.
The books are uplifting. You know, the books are intentionally supposed to be fun and engaging and energetic, and it should be a joy to look forward to each month.
And that was a trailer for X-Men #1 from Marvel Comics, and it's pretty cool because Hickman in that interview said a couple of things I didn't expect he was going to say. He's kind of known for these long story arcs that are kind of like super epic and, you know, not, I won't say depressing, but it's always like the end of
more
everything.
serious,
They're all
yeah.
more serious. He said this is supposed to be fun and the stories are supposed to be short and punchy.
All right.
And I actually thought that was really cool. Like, I mean, in terms of like picking it up month to month, it kind of gives you an incentive because you're like going to get like something like condensed and nice and simple and fun. So, also, I just want to point this out officially on camera because I brought this up on my Facebook page and people co-signed. In X-Men #1, Wolverine is living with Scott and Jean.
I saw that.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. And someone said to me that, like, yeah, they alluded to that in one of the other, I think it was like Powers of 10 or House of X. So
It's 2019, everyone.
it's 2019 apparently. Hickman's bringing the X-Men up to date. So there you go, money shot. Anyway, it's time for news. Thea's here, and she's going to show us what's been going on in the world of comics in the last 7 days.
Longtime favorite DC storytellers team up with acclaimed new voices in a celebration of the Amazon Princess Diana as the publisher revealed details of Wonder Woman 750. Wonder Woman number 750 is a tribute to one of pop culture's most enduring heroes, containing stories from writers such as legendary Wonder Woman writers Greg Rucka and Gail Simone, as well as fan-favorite scribes Vita Ayala, Marguerite Bennett, Jeff Loveness, and current Wonder Woman writer Steve Orlando. They'll be joined by a variety of new Wonder Woman storytellers, including Cami Garcia, Shannon and Dean Hale, and Mariko Tamaki. Wonder Woman number 750 is a 96-page prestige format one-shot comic book, debuting in comic book stores January 22nd, 2020. After a long history of development as a film, Jeff Smith's epic comic series Bone is now currently in development at Netflix as a family-friendly animated series. Bone fans can rest assured the team at Netflix understands Bone and is committed to doing something special. Further details on the series are slim at the moment, but fans can look forward to hearing more about the long-awaited adaptation as the series creeps closer to release. In the meantime, make sure to check out the original Bone comics to get ready for the show. Comic creative professionals, publishers, retailers, and fans came together last Saturday night, October 19th, to socialize, dine, and experience the comic book industry celebrating recognition of their peers, co-workers, and competitors at the 2019 Mike Wieringo Comic Book Industry Awards. The Mike Wieringo Comic Book Industry Awards is an annual celebration of the creativity, skill, and fun of comics. The nomination ballot is determined by fans and pros alike. To check out the list of categories and winners, head on over to the PREVIEWSworld website. And finally, Marvel released its special edition of The Pull List, unveiling exclusive information for titles coming to comic shops this January. Presented by hosts Ryan Agent M. Penagos and Tucker Marcus, The Pull List sheds light on some of the most highly anticipated Marvel comics, recapping all the exciting news from New York Comic Con 2019, like Iron Man 2020 and Ravencroft, as well as the new launches of Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Star Wars. In addition, the Pull List revealed never-before-seen titles, Hawkeye Freefall, a brand new solo series by Matthew Rosenberg, and Tarot No. 1, an all-new adventure featuring the Avengers and Defenders by comic legends Alan Davis and Paul Renaud. Be sure to tune into the Previews website each week for more exclusive news and reveals.
Cool. Some cool 2020 announcements, of course, right? And I want to point out that, like, we actually forgot to mention the Star Wars trailer.
Yes, we did.
And it just so happens that you name-dropped that Star Wars book from Charles Soule this week. I'm usually I'm a little salty with Star Wars right now. Star Wars and I are in a long-term relationship.
Same.
We're in a long-term relationship, and then we kind of broke up.
Yep.
But I will say that the new trailer was good.
Yes,
And
I agree.
I sent it to you, and what did you say?
I said, I'm having a feelings,
Right.
which hasn't happened.
Right, yeah,
So
yeah.
even the trailers for the last two,
Just like, meh.
I was like, okay, I guess that's happening.
Right.
But it feels like a really good, heartfelt conclusion to me,
Right, yeah,
and it sparked some emotions.
Yeah, right. Which actually kind of surprised me because, there's a couple of moments in the trailer that dropped, and I was like,
Oh, all right.
okay, ooh.
I'm feeling things.
Yeah. So I was like, all right.
I'm a real boy.
Not sure if I'll quit my I'm a real boy. Like, I'm not sure if I'll quit my boycott of Star Wars just yet. My boycott, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I've seen
Like, you're
everything
not gonna
so
go,
far.
yeah, exactly.
But I was a little surprised at how impactful that trailer was.
I'm pleased, yeah.
So we'll
Pleasantly
see.
surprised, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Pleasantly surprised is the best way to put it. Actually, your pick this week, Count Crowley, right? It just so happens, like I mentioned earlier, we do have an interview with David Desmalchin.
Yes.
And so Natasha at New York Comic Con had a chance to sit at the Dark Horse booth and talk with him about Count Crowley. Now, if you see this guy, you're going to recognize him, right? Because he was in The Dark Knight. He was in The Dark Knight. He was in Ant-Man. He's been in a slew of other movies, and he's in the upcoming Suicide Squad movie by James Gunn. And it just so happens that he's going to talk to you a little bit about how he got involved with Dark Horse and where this comic came from. So check this out. A little clip, and then the whole clip will be online later on. But check out this interview. David Desmalchin.
So you dove into comics.
Yes.
And what got you started there? What kind of cultivated the premise for this comic?
You know, Natasha, being here at New York Comic Con and knowing that we're sitting here talking about the fact that I've written a comic book which in just a few weeks is going to be on shelves in comic stores.
October 23rd, if I'm
That's
not
right, October 23rd.
if I'm not wrong.
But it's mind-blowing for me. I've been reading and collecting comics since about the 6th grade. I got my first comic in 3rd grade, but I started really, collecting them by 6th grade, and I've just been, always so enamored with the blend of artwork and color and storytelling and characterizations and the power that comic books have to transport us to so many different places and through so many different worlds and put us in the driver's seat of so many different characters that maybe see the world differently than we ever have. So when I came up with this idea for Jerry Barbman, who is going to be our Count Crowley, the reluctant midnight monster hunter, I had originally envisioned her and the story taking place in the world of television because I saw it as a serialized adventure series where this individual was going to have to figure out if they could even take the mantle of being an appointed monster hunter, and if they did decide to do so, would they be able to learn before it's too late all of the tricks for stopping monsters? Because in the world of Count Crowley, basically, all you and I and everybody watching at home knows about monsters is a total lie. Fake news that's been spread amongst us for generations. So silver bullets won't stop a werewolf. A vampire can't be killed with a stake. So Jerry, our hero, is going to have to learn all that. So to me, it made sense. And because of my experience as an actor in film and television, I thought, I know some people in that world. I work for Peter Lenkov, who is the creator of the MacGyver reboot, as well as many other successful and awesome shows and movies. And I was talking to Peter, and he got very excited because we're both fans of similar genres, and we loved Kolchak the Night Stalker and comic books. And he said, I love this idea. I want to help you. I want to help you get it going. So he introduced me to the wonderful people here at Dark Horse Comics. Mike Richardson, who's been running this amazing, publishing house for years, liked my idea. And they were excited by it. Well, thank you, but when it's your idea, you don't, you go, is anybody gonna really? And this is the house that built Hellboy. You know what I mean? This is one of the greatest comic book publishing companies in history, and that they wanted to help me develop this idea. And here we are now, with issue 1 about to hit shelves.
So great.
And I hope people at home really, find something meaningful to them in the comic, because Lucas Kettner's artwork is so insanely brilliant in this book. I mean, it blows any of my wildest dreams out of the water. And I'm so excited.
And that was a clip from our Indie Edge interview with David Desmalchin, hosted by Natasha. We both really like, we were talking about this earlier, like the book looks pretty cool. Like if you've ever grown up on creature features, if you just want something that's like kind of in the vein of horror or whatever, is also a love letter to horror.
Yes,
it has a little bit of shock jock elements to it on top of that.
Yeah.
But it has the potential to be a really fun one. And like, I'll get you a copy, and I want to read it too, so like, you definitely check that out. Actually, speaking of Halloween, we're going to have Ashton later on the show, and she's going to talk to us about Halloween Comic Fest. Failed to mention that earlier in the show, but it is this weekend, so we're going to give you all the details so that you can walk into your local comic shop and celebrate with them in fashion. But it's time for Previews Toy Chest.
Yeah.
So Natasha's back again, and she's going to show you what toys are at your local comic shop, and then when we come back, we'll have a little giveaway and some Ashton for you. How about that?
Hey Previews World! Here's this week's rundown of some of the toys, statues, and collectibles hitting store shelves for the first time. Let's take a look inside the Previews Toy Chest for the week of October 23rd, 2019. That's not all. Before heading to your local comic shop, be sure to check out PREVIEWSworld.com/new releases. There you'll find a complete rundown of everything a toy collector could possibly want.
And for more toys, statues, and collectibles available at your local comic shop, head on over to PREVIEWSworld.com/toy chest for more. But It's time for a giveaway.
It is time for a giveaway. We don't, unfortunately, we don't have what it is in the studio,
Right.
but it is a very fancy, very interesting, very brand new first iteration of this new version of Batwoman as a pop figure. And if you guys want to win that, let us know what your opinion is on the new Batwoman show. Comment on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching us. Let us know. We'll take entries up until next week, and we'll pick one of you guys to win Batwoman.
And it's important to point out, this one actually has red hair, because apparently that was a sticking point for the TV show.
Oh, I mean, it's
Yeah.
super bright, too. It's
Yeah.
like red.
Yeah.
It'd be red.
Right. So, yeah, if you missed the red hair on the TV show, the Funko Pop has it, so check that out.
It's here. It's now.
It's now. But we do have last week's winner.
Of course. Last week's winner of our super fancy international version of Watchmen, answering our question of was Adrian Veidt right? Excuse me.
It's debatable.
Is Val, who responded saying, no, he was not. You can't go around building a better world for people. Only people can build a better world for people. Otherwise, it's just a cage.
That was a great response, actually. I really liked that one. So earlier in the show, we talked about Halloween Comic Fest. At least we mentioned that we were going to talk more about Halloween Comic Fest. And it just so happens that we have Ashton Greenwood. A Wild Ashton appears. What's up, Ashton?
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. And you, of course, well, we always say you're the Duchess of Free Comic Book Day.
Because I am.
We got to find a handle for Halloween Comic Fest, but you do handle Halloween Comic Fest
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
So, first of all, off the bat,
Right.
for the Johnny-come-latelys, what is Halloween Comic Fest?
Okay, so Halloween Comic Fest is an annual event that happens at local comic shops across the country and around the world. And its entire purpose is to highlight comic shops as a great place for Halloween fun. So we'll be giving out comic books, and we have some of them here. There's 28 different titles you can get for free. No catch, just show up and you can pick from these titles. And shops will also be doing cosplay contests, of course, because it's Halloween. It's Halloween without a costume, right, Thea?
Lydia.
Oh, I'm sorry, my fault. And also other sales and stuff like that. So it'll be a good time.
No, good. And we were all kind of bonding over the underdog comics. But what are some of the, well, actually, you know what? Before we even get into the whole lineup, because there's a lot of comics.
Yeah.
What are the good ones? What are the ones that you're looking forward to, I should say more specifically?
Okay, so I'm actually really looking forward to this Blastosaurus title from Golden Apple Comics. I personally think this is the hidden gem of all of the books.
Okay.
So cute.
And it starts out really cute and the art's cute and everything, but the end kind of takes a turn that you don't expect, and it plays with the notions of reality and what that means and who can affect your reality.
Okay. Whoa. All
Right?
Whoa, gets a little trippy. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what other highlights could people look forward to? Because, well, first of all, there are 2 different sizes that you can get. Like, can we delve into that a little bit?
Yeah,
or?
so these are all the mini ones that are kind of laying out here, and then this one from Aftershock is the full-size one, just to kind of
A little comparison.
give a little comparison.
Yeah.
Baby comics. And something to keep in mind is all of the smaller comics are all ages titles,
Okay,
not to
right.
sound redundant. So if you're taking a kid and you don't want to have to think about like what's appropriate for them, any of the little ones are going to be a good fit.
Okay. And it's not just comics, right? You can get a bunch of other stuff too.
Yes, okay, so you can get this shirt from the wonderful Kelly Jones. He designed our shirt this year. And there's also 2 Vinnie Mates, both Godzilla.
Okay,
From
nice.
DST. So those will be the exclusive collectibles. And then there's also like the buttons and posters and all that kind of good swag.
Okay, nice. Now, how can they find a store? Because you said it's a couple of thousand.
My favorite
So
question.
let's narrow it down for them a little bit.
So HalloweenComicFest.com/store locator. We like to make it simple. Just type in your zip code and it'll give you a list of every shop in 30 miles that's participating.
Nice. And just to be clear, like, yeah, you got some really cool stuff here. I mean, you have a Pokemon comic for starters.
Yeah, and even beyond these, some of the full-size comics probably hit more titles that you would know. So Marvel has 4 books.
Okay.
They're doing Iron Man, Ghost Rider, Miles Morales, and Boba Fett.
Okay.
Which is very timely with the trailer and the new movie
That's
coming
right.
up.
Yeah.
And then DC has 3 books. They're doing Deceased, which there's also going to be a variant cover available. It won't be free, but there is a variant cover available that you could potentially purchase if your shop has it. And they are also doing the DC Superhero Girls, which is
Right there.
somewhere around.
Right in front of you.
Oh, whoops.
Right. Now, the DC Superhero Girls is a little smaller, right?
It is, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Tiny,
well, DC made the decision to have it printed at this size so that it fits with their entire line of the DC Superhero Girls graphic novels.
Mm-hmm.
So the size it is the size the book's going to be. Make it easier to find it in the store.
Okay, cool.
That's actually kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great lineup, like really cool stuff, and like, yeah, I'm actually going to pick up the some of the Marvel stuff for sure.
Shocker.
Yeah, shocker. Just a little bit of bias there, but I actually have not read Deceased, so I'm actually very curious about that. So yeah, I want to jump on that too because I know a lot of people are crazy about that book. Actually,
Yeah.
it's been the surprise hit of this year. So
Which is funny though because everyone was like, "Oh, we're over zombies."
right, yeah.
Apparently, we're not.
Are we really?
Are we ever?
Are we ever over zombies?
I feel like people have been saying that for like a decade now, so it's proven to be wrong every single time. So actually, I want a little hot take here because we did talk about the Star Wars trailer earlier.
Okay.
Did you see the Star Wars trailer?
Of course.
What'd you
I was
think?
watching the football game and I was like, I'm ready for it.
Oh, it debuted during the football game yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes sense, right. So we're a little hot take, quick hot take, because I know we can do this forever, but.
Okay, right. We'll be here all day. So the 3PO moment got me in my feels, and I'm a little concerned because R2's my favorite character because he's really important for the continuity and the timeline of the entire saga. And so 3PO kind of functions in the same way despite having his memory erased. So I'm worried for kind of what's going to come of him, and also the Carrie Fisher moment got me. I'm excited though because I think the one thing I've loved most has been Kylo Ren's character arc, and I love the internal conflict he's obviously got going on, and I think that's going to come full circle with kind of whatever the Emperor's going to be doing and his relationship with Rey. So I'm super excited.
Nice,
And sorry to offend you, I'm so excited J.J. Abrams has the reins back.
Okay. Well, that's fine, sure.
There's your hot take.
Right.
You asked for it.
I did. I had
got
it coming. That's all right. Okay, fine. Yes, good for you. I'm glad you're enjoying the trailer.
I'm happy for you.
Right. And then we'll talk about this later and rant.
Yeah.
For a solid hour
yeah.
off camera. That's great. Also, one last thing before you go. First of all, thank you for coming in and talking to us about Halloween Comic Fest.
Thank you for having me.
So, okay, a couple weeks ago, I actually posted a video of you ranting, like literally ranting about the mascot, the McDonald's mascot Grimace. Can you please explain what's going on here?
Okay. So
it was on the PREVIEWSworld Instagram, just in case you guys missed it, but yeah.
So I was under the impression for so long that Grimace was a chicken nugget, right? He's part of McDonald Land, and he's a chicken nugget shape.
Looks like
He's literally like a little. He looks like a chicken McNugget.
He looks like a chicken nugget, a purple nugget,
right? And I am adamant, like I will die on this hill. You can't change my mind. He's a chicken nugget.
I for a long time thought he was a chicken McNugget. But we were corrected, and there's a generation gap here, I think, that's going on here.
There is.
So you're in the nugget camp, firmly. Okay, there's a generation gap here because like some of our fellow employees like argued that actually didn't even argue. They gave facts.
Right. But still, I'm doubling down. I am doubling down. He is.
Right. Apparently, he's like some sort of shake thief.
He's literally he's like Swiper the Fox from Dora of milkshakes.
You're right,
and it's a whole thing because he was evil Grimace, and his whole thing was he stole milkshakes, and he had 4 arms to steal more milkshakes. But then our hero Ronald McDonald, I don't like clowns, befriended Grimace, and now he's a good guy and also a chicken nugget.
And also apparently Ronald cut his arms off.
Yeah, he lost 2 arms.
Missing 2 arms,
where'd they go?
Good guys can't have more than 2 arms,
I
so
guess
they
not.
just sucked back into his body.
I mean, he's kind of like a bug, so they're
Well,
kind of
Stitch had a bunch of arms.
That's
That's
true,
okay.
actually. You're right.
But yeah,
The whole thing,
he still looks like a chicken nugget.
he still looks like a chicken nugget, a purple chicken nugget.
That's a
So
purple chicken
I don't know if we settled this debate, but I'm gonna take it to the people watching at home. If you have an opinion about this, do you think Grimace? Now, first of all, historically, we know that he's not a chicken nugget.
Don't tell me. Oh, he's a milkshake thief. I know.
Right, but is Grimace a chicken nugget? Just let us know in the comments so we can just
He can still
truthfully.
be a milkshake thief.
He can still be a
He
milkshake
can be
thief.
simultaneously.
I see. That makes me wonder. Is this where that whole? Have you seen people
You
who
dunk
dip
it? Yeah.
their
You
chicken
not seen
nuggets in
that?
milkshakes?
I mean, it sounds whack.
People do that with fries and Frosties. all the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I guess
I don't know.
I'm not going to do that, but I understand the inclination.
Fair enough. Okay, that's fair. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. So Johnny's telling us to wrap us up because we can go on this
I'll be here all day.
Like we wasted half a workday talking about this, but
sounds about right.
Also, get on the McDonald's wiki. There's a lot of lore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the McDonald's land thing is like it's its own universe. This is the MCU before the MCU.
Most ambitious crossover.
McDonald's CU.
It's
the other MCU.
Actually, speaking of MCU, we're gonna do a little social swamp in a second. But
Yeah.
Ashton, thank you for coming out here.
Of course.
Thank you for the controversial hot takes.
Always.
And if you want to know more about Ashton and Grimace, hit her up on social media.
I'll tell you. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
We're back at it with the social swamp, and we had a question for you guys out there. We wanted to know, now that Kevin Feige is the chief creative officer of all things Marvel, including comics, what do you think this means for the 616, aka the original Marvel Universe? So we got a few opinions from you guys on this.
Yeah.
First up, Automatic Comics said, it means another reboot. All issues get a new #1. Then Kevin will build an ongoing, cohesive universe with a mega event every 3 years and no more reboots, other issue ones, or events overlapping every other week. We can but dream.
Yeah, that's fair.
Next up, Adam Bunch said, I think this long-term X-Men comics plan just became a one-year experiment before it's rebooted again to fall in line.
I hope you're wrong.
Nightfall X said, rest in peace, Marvel Comics.
Okay.
Melvin Penner said, I don't know about the 616, but I'd like to see a comic series spun right out of the MCU. All one-shots, of course. A Tales from the MCU, if you will. I conceptually
I'm down
like
for
that a
that.
lot. That's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool, for sure.
I mean, technically they've done that before.
Yeah.
Like they had like little mini comics that kind of were like the bridges between the films and you know, but
That's nice.
But at the same
Continuing
time,
that idea is a great idea.
it is a good idea. Yeah, yeah. Like we it's weird. There was like very few middle ground comments.
Sure.
Like I gave you the most middle ground comments.
We, of course, have one pretty good one. That's our last one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. What's up?
Last but not least, Chris5518 said, I hope for the best, but expect the worst.
That's right. I mean, you know,
That's pretty fair.
I appreciate the cautious optimism.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can respect that. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No.
I mean, we're both fans of the MCU. I
He
think
did a fabulous job.
he did a fabulous job. I think he's honored the history of the comics in a lot of ways. I think when people get a little too nitpicky about, oh, this moment didn't happen the way that it happened in the comics, I'm like,
It shouldn't, honestly.
it shouldn't. Well, you know, also here's my thing. Like, DC characters have defining moments. Marvel characters have defining characteristics.
Yes.
That's always been my distinction.
That's pretty cool.
And like,
sense.
yeah, right. And I think that like when Kevin Feige has done a very good job, and you know the directors and producers and other producers and writers have done a very good job of giving us those defining characteristics, and so that no matter what version of Iron Man you see, whether it's in the comics or movies, it's Iron Man.
It's Iron Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there was like a lot of either overexcitement or just like people just
Total, like,
angry.
Yeah.
Right.
salt.
Right. I just, you know, I say take a wait and see approach. I think it's just like with the Spider-Man hubbub, like a few like it was like 2 months ago, maybe a month ago actually.
Right, yeah.
You know, we don't actually know what goes on behind closed doors.
of course
like
not.
we don't. I think people are assuming we know what his role will be.
Right.
But we don't.
No.
We don't actually know. And like how much impact he has ultimately on the comics, we don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, take a wait and see approach.
We'll find out.
I hope that things don't get gutted because I think Marvel's been on a good track
Absolutely.
last year actually. Like I think they've gotten me to read X-Men again.
There you go.
They've gotten me to read Spider-Man again. Like you know,
They're
so
bringing back all the good stuff.
they're bringing back all the good stuff
in a way that makes people want to read it.
wants to read it. People are invested again. So I know that some people are always going to be like, it's not my Spider-Man. It's not my
Right.
X-Men
That's
or whatever.
inevitable.
That's inevitable, right? But wait and see.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I don't know. Did you have any hot takes on this one?
Not particularly.
Not particularly.
I'm very wait and see on like 99% of this kind of announcement stuff.
Right, right.
I have no idea what it's going to be like. None of us do, so I'm not really here to form an opinion until
right.
I see what the product is.
Exactly. And I'm like, look, capable hands, like, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's all right, guys.
Absolutely.
We can deal. So we're almost done here.
We are.
But we have some last bit of business we have to do before we walk out. What do we got this week?
Comic shop shout out time.
Woot woot.
If you guys want your local comic shop to be shouted out on the show, let us know what they are. Use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS and they could get a feature. We are not actually featuring any particular comic shop this week. We
Right.
are going to show you some photos of some cool cosplays that we encountered at Baltimore Comic Con last weekend.
Yeah. Actually cosplaying more because like they're just in general just shots from the show. So
Very cool.
Yeah. It was a cool one for us. We got to do something different. We got to do some interactive things with some creators
Yeah.
like I mentioned Tara Strong, of course, and Greg Sipes, Walt Simonson, Lee Simonson. So definitely keep an eye out for some of the stuff that we did at Baltimore Comic Con because it's a lot of fun. Thea was there, Natasha was there, I was there, Johnny was there. You know, it was a good time.
It was a good show.
And like I think it's Baltimore, because it's in our backyard, is one of those shows that we get to do more at, I think. So
it's comfortable, it's convenient.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out on that. I wanted to talk about Watchmen this week, but they won't let me. So
we'll catch you next time.
We'll catch you next time. There's just not enough time this week. But that's it for this week's show. I am Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and we'll see you at the spinner rack.
Thanks for watching Previews World Weekly. If you like the show, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes.